I've been hesitant to talk about Godzilla Minus One because I had a pretty big problem with the movie that I haven't seen anyone else address. I enjoyed the movie when I saw it, but when I got out of the theater, Josie pointed something out to me, and I feel like I should give her this space to talk about it.
The protagonists of the film are Japanese soldiers returning home after World War II, and the film itself is incredibly well executed with a beautiful message about choosing to rebuild and move on after a catastrophic tragedy. It's heartwarming, it's emotional, and it is an important story to tell. But one very important detail that this movie fails to address are the atrocities and war crimes committed by Japanese soldiers during World War II. The story is rightfully sympathetic to the Japanese people who were misled and abandoned by the Japanese imperialist government at the time. But the film minimizes the atrocities committed by Japanese imperialism, which borders on historical revisionism. Korea was one of the numerous countries that suffered through Japanese occupation, and during that time, the Japanese army took over 1 million Korean people as slaves for their military labor camps, and over 500,000 young Korean women as sex slaves for their military. And as a first-generation Korean American, my life has been directly impacted by this. My parents immigrated here when they were children, and their parents lived through the tail end of World War II and Japanese occupation, and grew up during the aftermath of that, immigrating to America after the Korean War. Many Koreans from that generation still remember the horrors of Japanese occupation. And Japanese occupation also impacted many other countries in Southeastern Asia, including Taiwan, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Thailand, the Philippines, Malaysia, and many other countries as well.
This significantly undermines the themes of the movie, because Godzilla Minus One is about Japan moving forward and healing by overcoming the shame of its past mistakes. But it cannot properly do that if it does not acknowledge those mistakes, or more insidiously, it doesn't consider them to be mistakes at all. The film had ample opportunities to address this, but it focused solely on the way that Japanese imperialism affected Japanese citizens instead.
This is what historical erasure looks like decades after these kinds of atrocities are committed. After public memory has faded, we see new representations of history that slowly rewrite history as more favorable to the oppressor.
I really wanted to love this movie, but leaving out relevant context when portraying history is something that we can never ignore.